Hello everyone, happy Monday. Excited about this one because we are finally redoing the Instagram live that had technical difficulties a few weeks ago with Carole. So we're going to be making some square smash books, and I'm super psyched because altered or created books are always a great thing to have in your pocket as an art educator, as a creative. So Carole will be joining us shortly. So friendly reminder for you, our Instagram live chats are always saved to our IGTV tab, so you can check that out after our chat and share them with your friends. And also just remembering that this is a time for us to just be creative. Sometimes as art educators or as individuals, it's hard to set that time aside for ourselves to really kind of practice our art making abilities as well. So we're going to get Carole in here and she's going to get us started so that we can finally have our smash books created. I'm super psyched about it. So hello everyone. We're going to get Carole in the group. That's my really good Monday song. All right, Carole. As y'all are waiting, just a friendly reminder for you to share in your story as well. Hi, Carole.
Hi.
Hi. Can everyone hear us? This was our issue last time. Was I was trying to speak, nobody can hear. I think we're good.
Okay, great.
I'm so excited to see you because I've been looking forward to these books for so long.
Me too.
And I'm really excited. Can you give everybody just a little bit of a background about yourself as an art educator in person?
Yeah. I am a elementary art teacher, but I'm at a K-5 school. I've taught at a STEAM school. I've taught high school. I've taught college age. So I've been teaching for a while, but K-5 is like my jam. That's my favorite group to teach. So, and that's pretty much it.
That's where you're at. I love it. I love it. Well, you're also a very creative person. And I know when we were kind of chatting what we wanted to create, you talked about these books and I was like, yes, this is perfect. So we're going to get started right away because we got about 30 minutes to just make and try to get into our creative artist brain a little bit today. So okay. Carole, tell us what do we need today to get started?
Okay, so you will need 3 square pieces of paper. I would just say if you're doing this, you kind of don't want to go too small. This was like 6 by 6, and you can see it makes a small one. This was 9 by 9 squares, and it makes about this size. I have 8 by 8s today. So as long as it's square and probably not smaller than 5 by 5, I think you should be good.
Okay, perfect. So I actually found the pieces that we were going to use weeks ago because I was scrambling trying to find paper. So I have probably, I would say 9 by 9. So cut squares, 3 of them the same size.
Right. And then I forgot to say a glue stick. You probably want something to embellish it with or add designs to it with. I did mine in advance, but I also have some stamps that could use. Some markers, Sharpie, and all that good stuff. Whatever you enjoy doing, whether it's collage, colored pencil, any of that, you can add to it.
Perfect. So are we going to assemble first or embellish first?
And assemble first, because I think that's the easiest. And then once it's put together, you can go in and embellish.
Yeah.
It can really be done either way. So if people are doing this with their students, you can have them do a large sheet of paper, and then you can either give them a template once you make one for yourself. You can actually expand it and use it as a template, or you can just have them cut it into 3 squares, their favorite spots in the larger piece, and go from there. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it. You can start with just blank paper, or you can start with what's already done.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited too because I always have random pieces of paper that kids have started drawing on, or there's sketchbook scraps, and I feel like giving them something to create from that and then almost drawing into it gives it so you're not starting from a blank page. And we kind of chatted about that. So let's assemble first. And I'm just going to downturn my camera here so that everybody can kind of see what we're doing.
I got to do the same.
Do the really graceful adjustment.
Mine will not be so graceful.
I know, right? It's really, there's no good way to do it.
Goodness.
Sorry, Carole.
I'm going to get it. Hold on.
I believe in you. But a friendly reminder for everybody that is creating with us today, if you have made a book or you've made anything along with us, go ahead and just share that in your story. Tag the Art of Ed, tag Carole today so that she can see what you've created, and then we'll try to pick somebody to win one of our holographic AOEU stickers. Don't forget, my friends, if you share in your story, then you obviously have a chance. Okay, I love the paper you have selected too.
Yeah, I thought I would just try. I see myself. Oh, okay. I thought I would just try. I did some marker prints because I think that was done last week.
Yes.
And I just did some lines on it and coloring and all that good stuff.
Beautiful. They're
So,
gorgeous.
step one, and to me, this is the easiest. The trickiest part is probably the folding, especially for kids. So the easiest way to go about it is to fold it in halves. So fold it horizontally in half. And then I like to open it so I can see and make sure that I did it correctly. And then fold it the opposite way or vertically. It's kind of a square, so it's hard to tell horizontal and vertical.
So you want all your folds sort of facing the same way, so it makes this like bowl kind of thing?
Yes. So I have it kind of like that and like this.
Okay, perfect.
So if you want to do that for all three, that part can be knocked out.
Beautiful. And again, I love to, like, you just did you cut some papers that you had already created into squares to use for this? Like they look.
I actually got some just drawing paper, and I actually worked on the paper, did some prints on it, and added some lines, and then I picked the spots I like best to cut down. Kind of like what you might want to do with kids.
And I have to ask, Carole, because we've gotten some beautiful compliments about your lines in general. Is that like freeform line drawing, or was that some specific type of prompt? Like it looks like the...
It's a modified, I guess, neurographic drawing. I saw the Art of Ed, the penny. I had my students use googly eyeballs.
I love it.
Just because I thought it was funny. So they used those and drew. And to me, this is so relaxing and fun to do. I just decided to add that to mine as well.
I absolutely love it. And I'm sure, I mean, we just actually have been doing those this week too. It's very relaxing, but would you mind giving everybody just like a quick recap of what specific neurographic drawing you're referring to? Like, how does it work?
Yeah. So basically, I've seen teachers use marbles, and you literally, like if I was using the stamp, I would just take my Sharpie, and you basically just kind of begin drawing. And I've just been telling students to let that, whatever we're using, as I said, we're using googly eyes, let that be your guide, and you just kind of follow behind it. And then you can go back and embellish and make lines thicker. On this one, I use 3 different types of marker, like thin sharp or skinny Sharpies, fine point, and then some bigger ones. So that's how we've been doing it.
I love it. Yeah, it's super fun, and it's really attainable for all students. So I think it's kind of like a cool way to get them to loosen up a little bit, but also have this interesting fine motor skill type thing. So I was just kind of demoing it with like whatever I had closest here, my glue stick cap. And so anything, you know, I love the idea of googly eyes because that is very funny. We have like these flat marble things. Yeah. So that is a really good way to warm up. And then clearly Carole has kind of embellished it a bit more with the marker printing, which you can see from iShell last week. And also just kind of like getting those lines a little thicker. I love it.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for that recap. Beautiful.
Yeah, trying different things. And I like the glue cap. I tried the marble, and I like the marble idea, but it can really get the going.
Yeah, and,
so that's why I was like, let me think of something that's a little more where we will have a little more control for students.
Yes, a little flatter for sure.
Yeah. Now, whenever you're ready, once you get those folded into 4s, there's one more fold we have to do on all 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
Those folds are corner to corner. So
Okay.
I'm literally going to go from this corner and fold it to the opposite corner. And you only need to do that on one side. Doesn't matter which one.
But all of them the same, right?
All three, yep, need to go corner to corner. And this
Okay.
is the part that's tricky for kids. Not the folding corner to corner, but when we start to assemble it. That's the tricky part.
I feel like folding is one of those skills that I always, I mean, I've been teaching for years and years, but I always assume kids can do it, like, and they just freak out sometimes. They're like, I can't get it to fold. So it's like a great skill that is just like having to use that helper hand, having to use multiple hands to hold and press. It's just a really good, good practice.
I agree. And having to do it 3 times is just furthering that practice, I think.
Absolutely.
So once you have this done, now here's the tricky part. And there's all kinds of methods, but basically we want, I'll show you on this one. We want some of them to do this kind of fold. And that's the part that kids get tripped up on. So I found that doing that one diagonal line helps you kind of pop this to where it comes together like that.
So it kind of does like a upward situation.
Yeah, yep. And it's just like that. So I'm going to repeat that. If you've got that diagonal line, you know, you can push kind of in the center, and those corners should kind of, or those lines should kind of come together. And
so technically, so I should be, okay, switching it the other way. I got you.
Yep. Now, one is going to go backwards, so it kind of doesn't matter. Whichever way works, which is why it's kind of cool if you do it where you got blank paper first, because then it doesn't matter.
Right.
But this is the part, if you're doing the age group that I have, you probably want to give them a little assistance.
Right, right.
Just because that part can be tricky. And you know, those that are watching know their students best, but I would probably stick to 5th grade, 4th grade, and probably that's it.
Right.
Just because this can be a little tricky. This part can. Once it's put together, it's pretty simple. They'll have fun with it.
And, you know, maybe it's something, if you want to try it with multiple grade levels, maybe some of the upper students can create a blank book for the little ones and do a little collaboration. I don't know.
Right, right.
Can you also answer, Carole, sorry, I was just thinking ahead. So this inside part, is this going to be the main inside of the book? Like if I want that to show, should I flip it?
Yeah, that's up to you though.
Okay.
And like I said, if it's blank, it won't matter. But I've got my 3 and I kind of press them down. And then I'll just show you how to assemble it. And then we can, you know, just have fun with it. Okay. But that was also why I said if as an educator, you actually make one for yourself and then use that and then trace it on cardboard, then that's an easier way also for students. Because then all they have to do is just kind of fold the pieces together versus having 3 pieces to have to do. But
I also just love your example too. I feel like it's a really fun version of seeing all sorts of elements of, you know, elements and principles of design. Like I've seen people do that with books before just to practice all of the vocabulary. And I think it's so eye-catching. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I have all my little friends lined up.
Okay. All right. So here's the last little step. Squares fit together. So I'm going to take my glue and I'll just demonstrate with this first one. If I just kind of add some glue to that one square, not the parts that come in, but the square. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to take this square and kind of reverse it. So the folds are sort of reversed. We don't want it going that way. We want
it's kind of like the little opening mouths are like facing each other, but then they
kind
come
of,
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I want to glue that part on there.
Okay.
Right in that square. So square to square, but opposite directions. So this one folds that way, and this one will fold that way. So it's already kind of smashing.
Ooh, okay.
So square to square one faces up and one faces down. That's
So
another way.
technically, I mean, you could make like a bunch of them and have like an entire huge book of it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And this third one will just fit up. So I've got up where the points come up and one where they point down.
That one was like my brain kind of exploded a little bit when you just put that
yes,
together. I was like, wait a second, what?
It does. And again, that's why I feel like, and I know we know this as art teachers, you gotta like do it first. Because figure out what the kids are gonna struggle with. So
right.
Yep.
Because like where we get stuck is where they're gonna get stuck.
Right.
Or maybe not, but sometimes.
Absolutely. And then I'm just going to glue this last one, and it's always a square. It's never the little triangles. It's always the square to square.
I think it's like sort of the thing of it. Like I was just picturing gluing all of the ends together and just opening like a big huge, you know, mouth. But the point is to have it kind of be like this constantly changing geometric moving kind of piece. So it's not quite as simple as that.
Right. And
so I like the like they're gonna eat each other. That's helping me remember.
So yeah, or whatever you think will work for your kids. I think if I tell mine, two of them go up and one of them faces the points face down, then that works.
I love it.
I think that'll work for them. And then I've got the Smash book all together.
Oh my gosh. And you gotta squish it, you know, like I
you
like
gotta
sit on them or like, you know.
Yep. You can set it under some books or whatever, but you really have to squish it. And this is where gluing comes in really good. Whatever kind of glue you guys are using. And also why it's really important that those sheets of paper are as close to perfectly the same size as possible.
I love it.
Yep.
And like you can also, I mean, you can really, the folds have that memory. So like you can really open it up pretty far and it'll still just kind of like crinkle back up.
Yep.
That's awesome.
These are so fun. I love making these because it just so much potential with what you do with it. So
yeah. One of our guests here reminded us about like when you push the back of that one to get it to like bring it in, they said like push the belly button, like the middle, and then it'll like come around and like kiss its little corners together. I just love the language that's
a great idea. That's a great way to say it. I've even seen people like wrap a ribbon around the top where let's say they have students do the idea that I was saying, one big sheet, and then the students cut out the pieces that they want and glue it to this big, almost like kind of like black construction paper, and then they put a ribbon on the top instead of having a design on the top. I just like the design on the top.
I mean,
but it's totally up to you, and up to, I guess, your class or yourself if you're making them for yourself.
Yeah. So Carole, you've done this with students before, correct?
Yes.
And can you give us like a little insight into what the actual embellishment typically is, or like what do you discuss when it's time to get them decorated? So
I've done it two ways. I've done the kind of approach, because we've been working with the lines, I've done it where they come up with a design first and then we put it together. I've also done one where we put it together first, sort of like how you were doing it, and as you can see, the paper was just white. Right. And then we went and did a different kind of design on the inside. Like, this is a good one. I don't know, maybe if you're teaching middle or high school, this is just my thought, because I haven't taught that age group in a while. But this would be a good introductory thing to like an Art 1. If you're, exploring elements or elements and principles, they can focus on one for each section. So there's different ways you can go about it. I've done sort of both. For elementary, I think this is the one that works. I think my students tend to get a little like, so much paper. So Um, I think having something in the beginning kind of gives them that safe feeling like, okay, I can do this and then I can add to it. So even
Right?
if you only did one side, instead of both sides, kind of like this one, but nothing on
Mm-hmm.
that side, then they can go in and add on the empty side.
I also am thinking too, like, I would have so loved if I were a kid, middle school, high school, whatever, and could like take notes on this, you know, like do a project where I'm talking about a specific artist or something and make it like way more
Yep.
dimensional.
Yep.
So this is just like a great reminder that paper doesn't have to be flat when it's displayed.
Nope. Nope. And I've even seen, I think I saw on a YouTube, an art teacher who, I'm not really sure where I saw this, but they have them do it as a first project, I think for middle school, and it's all about them. So each
Ooh,
page
yeah.
has a category, you know, like what's your favorite color? So that section is all about your color. What's your favorite song? What's your favorite, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you could do that. You could do your favorite artist, or they could study an artist and do it in that style.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I mean, you could even, once you open it up, the pages do lay pretty flat. So
Yep,
maybe if you're kind of into trying that neurographic design that we were discussing at the beginning,
Yep.
perhaps assembling the book together first and then going in and trying different marks or mark making materials. I think that's super fun.
Yep. And then, you know, this is the fun part. You get to decide how much you want on there, and, you know, especially if you're doing this for yourself.
Right.
I'm just going to try some stamping and just add. I found these stamps at my school. I transitioned schools, and I was like, these are the coolest stamps. Where are these from?
What? I can't tell what's on them.
This one has oh, wait a minute, there's the camera. This one has like concentric circles. This one has small ones. They're kind of stars.
I feel like stamps.
Yeah, this one is just random sized circles. And this one is just kind of lines.
Nice.
I think that's cool. Yeah.
I also love the like multi-layered situation you've got going on. Like I know this is a great way to get started, but I'm just wishing I had as much in my book as you already do. I'm like, I don't want blank paper.
But you know, like I said, once you got that down, then you kind of know what you're looking for. Because I've done this, I was like, I don't want to just have plain paper, but I even use like, this is origami paper. So you can literally just use, and it's two-sided origami. So kids could go and actually do something on colored paper, like if you gave them colored paper. I guess the other thing to think about is also not having paper that's too thick, especially if you're using or working with younger kids, because
And have you ever
thick.
Right, it's especially difficult to fold that too. So like if we're already talking lower elementary, that's going to have a little bit of difficulty trying to get those folds to really crease. Yep. I agree. That's a great reminder.
Yep.
Can you tell us, have you ever made covers for them? Like I'm picturing maybe a cardboard. I think you mentioned that briefly was like a thicker cover at the end.
Yep, I have. And actually, even on this one, you can't tell because I did it the exact same size. I have another one laying around somewhere where you can see it. It has a border around it. And I glued another piece of paper on top. But you can kind of see on this one that there's another sheet glued on it. But you can literally, I don't know if you guys can kind of see that one. Because I didn't want the Sharpie to show through. Through the paper, so I just did a sheet and I cut that square out to fit on there. Same on the back. So yes, you can do that. You can just do a solid one where it's not a design on it, and it's basically the same idea. You're just gluing a square onto the front square and onto the back. Like I could literally put one here and here. It just takes away the design on it.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think that, I mean, that's helpful too, just to make it a little extra sturdy, especially if you're going to use it for a couple, you know,
note taking or gonna save it for a little bit longer, or just like you mentioned, your teacher example that you kind of want to just stick around for a while because kids are gonna be pawing at it. So it's nice to have that be a little bit sturdier too.
Yes, I agree. And if you're using thin paper like origami, you really want to have that on there because it's so thin. The paper's so
Right.
thin that you
Right.
want that. But it also will help weight the top down, which is why this one lays so much flatter than this one does, because it's got that additional one on it.
Well, I mean, you're like trying to be the epitome of a smash book, is like smash it so flat it's like a,
yes.
I don't know what.
I think that's what makes it cool when it like opens up.
Yeah. That's when it's the surprise, because it looks like it's just a little, couple sheets of paper.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, got this crazy like geometric sort of explosion that happens.
Yes, very much.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna keep coloring this page a little bit, but if you can give us just a little any other tips you have for us about finishing these books in particular, or any other modifications you think would be kind of cool for the smash books?
Well, this could be a collage book. It could be a collection of things. I'm wondering what would happen if we kind of made on those triangle ones. And it might make it too thick, but I don't know. What if we made little pockets on those? Like I'm thinking, like older students. I don't know if I would do that with elementary, but what if this was like a pocket where you put an additional sheet over it and it had spots where students could put things in? Or I'm trying to think of what else would be really cool for this. I do like the note-taking idea. It could be something that grows, like it could almost be a sketchbook. And then maybe every time, like a prompt at the beginning of class, it's something they could do on it. And once, I think, especially older kids learn to do these, they'll probably love doing these on their own.
And right, once you get it, you kind of can get it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. It could be painted, but I would probably do that beforehand. I'm just trying to think of some other ideas. I'm really curious as to what would happen if you just keep going. Does it still continue to work?
Right, because technically, I mean, right, you're saying like, since we have 3 together, I mean, you could keep just making a piece and then just connecting it into that square and putting them flat to flat, right?
Right. Or what it would look like really big. Like,
absolutely.
Then if you want to display this, how would you display it? Those are like things to think about, like at your school. If you want to display it, is there a way to make it kind of stand, like a sculpture almost?
Woo! I love it.
Yeah.
See it kind of in the round a little bit?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to turn my camera up now here too for us, just because I have one more little question, well, maybe 2, before we end for the day. I did have one individual here asking about if your prints are made by a gel plate.
They are not. They are literally foil and marker.
Right. Beautiful. And actually, we did do Make Art With Me last week. That was marker prints with eShell. So I will share that too for y'all if you want to know how to do that kind of printing background. So you can use pretty much anything, it sounds like, right? There's possibilities are endless, which I love.
Yes, very much so. I'm trying to turn it around to me. Hold on. Okay.
Yay!
Yes, the possibilities are endless. Yes.
Thank you, Carole. I love that. I feel like, honestly, I
like yours.
Thank you. I mean, I just kind of like tried to get color on there because I just really can't handle my blank pages right now. But it's getting there. But I was picturing putting all the corners together and that it would just be like, that. But it's so much better with the 2.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew you'd blow my mind. It's so good. Carole, can you maybe end, give us just a little bit of, I always like to end with some positivity, some words of encouragement, or something just to leave us as we head forward through this year?
I would just say, try and take every day as it comes and really kind of approach it as go with the flow. If there's any new teachers on here, don't get discouraged. Just kind of keep at it. it gets better. And then find things that I think work for you and work for your students, because what you might see on Instagram might not really work for your students. So how might you need to modify that? I have extensions kids, so sometimes I see things that, you know, other students, and that's basically adaptive, but that depends on the levels of kids that you have. So don't get discouraged and just kind of keep at it and learn. Like, I love to learn. And don't be afraid to ask anybody, especially a teacher. Like, I don't know too many teachers that don't like questions.
Yeah.
So
It's very affirming, and it's community building to kind of lean on each other, or just, you know, we're abundance mentality is the hope that we all are here to support each other the best we can. And that's the hope that makes this career so amazing.
Yep.
One more quick little comment in here too, just another individual sharing about like their units they've been doing. So she was saying a solar eclipse unit, doing
Ooh.
math sections, doing haikus. So like, again, the art component, absolutely love, but why not do some like little secret poetry in there, some writing?
I love the poetry
right?
element.
I know.
That's, you could even take that and like talk about typography, so that, you know, whatever the poems are, that maybe you can give more meaning to them based on what styles of like fonts they use or style of writing. Yeah, that's a great one.
I know, it all tells a story.
Yes.
Well, Carole, can you tell us where we can find you and tag you for anyone that has created something today?
It's pretty easy. It's just CDJ Teaches Art on Instagram.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so glad our sound worked, because I've been looking forward to this one. Technology.
Yes.
But y'all share what you've created today, even if it's just in progress. We would love to see what you make with us on our Make Art With Me Mondays. And we will see you next week for another one. Carole, have a great night. Thank you so much, my friend.
Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all.